there, this is Shraddha. Welcome back to my channel. I have had the honor to talk to the award-winning USA Today best-selling author Quinn Loftis. I asked her a few questions, she answered them for us. I'll be sharing our conversation with you people. But before you continue watching this video, do not forget to like, share and subscribe. So I won't keep you any longer because I know all the Quinn Loftis fans are gonna murder me if I keep you any longer. So please continue watching. Please welcome the USA Today best-selling author Quinn Loftis. Hello, Quinn. I'm truly honored to have you today. Well, it's night there, and I'm so happy. I'm messing with my words. I'm having a short circuit in my brain. I'm so happy to talk to you.
I'm glad to be here. Thank you for having me. Sorry we had that misconnect each time.
Time zones can really be confusing.
Yeah, they are.
So, okay, we'll be starting. I'll be asking you questions. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
Okay, so the first question, when did you first realize you wanted to be a writer?
Probably when I was very young. I had read the series A Wrinkle in Time and realized at that point in my life that I loved the idea of worlds that existed that we couldn't see, that there was something beyond us. I loved world building, and I think I was probably around 8 or 9 when I read that series, and I knew then that I wanted to be a writer. That's what I wanted to do. I didn't know that I could do it. I just knew that that's what I would love to get to do.
That's cool. What inspired you to start writing?
Probably just one, my love of writing. 2, I started reading young adult books, and through reading those, I came through this realization that I didn't like all, because I write young adult romance, paranormal romance. I got to a point where I just didn't always like the formula for the romances, and I thought I really would like to see something different. So I decided first, I thought I'm going to try writing a book. I don't know that it'll work, but I'm going to try it. And then I decided once I was going to write it that I wanted it to be different. I didn't want it to be, which I have nothing against frenemies, friends, enemy, lovers, whatever, but I wanted something different. And so I wanted my readers to see a couple come together and actually, what did that look like for a relationship? How do we act? How do we respond? How do we have healthy relationships? So that's why I knew I wanted to write, was I wanted people to see a different idea for the relationship, how it develops, I guess you could say.
Your books really are unique. The storylines, the couples, they're so very rare and unique. Okay. So where do you get your information or ideas for your books?
Where do I get my information? So when I started, I get asked this a lot about the Grey Wolf series. I did a lot of research on Romania because I didn't know anything about Romania. I just thought it was there's a lot of rich history in Romania. There's a lot of folklore, that kind of stuff, which is one of the reasons I chose it, because I just love it. I would love to visit there one day. I've never been there. And then anything that, honestly, it's people will say, where do you get the names, or where do you get this? I Google. I really do. I'll Google cool Romanian names, or, cool elf names, or I use Google a lot. So, but as far as like the actual idea for my books, those honestly happen usually when I'm exercising. If I climb, we have a mountain here in Arkansas called Pinnacle Mountain, and it's one that people hike, and I hike it all the time. And when I'm hiking, that is where I get a lot of my ideas, where I'm like, okay, and usually it's, because I love shifters and I love anything paranormal. The other times are when my husband and I collaborate a lot. So the Nature Hunters Academy series was actually a collaboration between him and I. He actually came to me and said, hey, we should write a series about this, and this. And I was like, oh, that's a good idea. And then we kind of, grew from there. So, but people say, aren't you worried you'll run out of ideas? I'm like, no, I don't have enough time for all the ideas that I have.
Okay. What is your working schedule like when you're writing?
Typically, it hasn't been lately because I have not been very disciplined, but usually it took me a long time to realize this. I write my best early in the morning before my day starts. So if I get up at 5 and write for 2 hours, I can usually knock out 2,000 to 5,000 words. And then my kids are up by then. If that doesn't happen, then I try to fit it in. Like lately, I'll go to the mountain and I'll write for 1,000 words. Then I'll go do my hike, and then I'll come back and write another 1,000 words in the car, and I just sit in the car and do it. But honestly, it just varies according to what my week looked like. You know, if I'm being very disciplined, then I get up at 5 and I write. And if I do that every day, I can knock out a book very fast. Unfortunately, I'm not the most disciplined person on earth. So, and there's never a time I'm not writing. I always I haven't written the last 3 days or 4 days, but I've still written this week. You know, I'm always, because I have 2 books. I just had a book come out. I have another book coming out in July that's finished, and now I'm working on the next one. So there's always the next book. There's never a off time, I guess you could say.
Okay. Do you remember the first story you ever read and the impact it had on you?
Yes, I remember. It was a Ramona Quimby book. I don't know if you probably don't know who that it's by Beverly Cleary. Beverly Cleary wrote books and it was about a little girl named Ramona Quimby, and I was back when I was little. I don't know, I was probably 7. But I remember, and it was just about this little girl who was very quirky, had got into a lot of mischief. But those were the earliest books that I can remember being able to read myself, without my parents' help. But yeah, just about this funny little girl. Go figure.
She sounds similar to Jen.
Exactly.
Okay. So what was your favorite book when you were a kid?
Favorite book when I was a kid was A Wrinkle in Time, by far. When I look back, I've talked to other people my age. I'm 41, so a lot of people my age, we look back, there wasn't a lot of fiction books for teenagers. There wasn't a lot of, there was a gap between young kids and then adults on fiction until Twilight, Harry Potter, all that kind of came out. There wasn't a huge amount of fiction for kids age, I would say 13 to 19. So you guys have had this massive benefit when this kind of explosion of this genre has happened. That was a kid. So I did read The Wrinkle in Time, but I don't know, have you ever heard of the Choose Your Own Adventure series? Have you heard of those books?
No, I haven't read The Wrinkle in Time.
Yeah, I'm showing how old I am. So back, I guess in the 80s, late 90s, there were books that called Choose Your Own Adventure, and the story would start, and you get to the end of a chapter, and it would say, if you want it to go this way, you can choose to go to this page, and if you want it to go this way, you can go to this page. Kind of like some of the apps are now do, only it was in paper format. Anyways, so yeah, but anywho.
Okay, so what do you think makes a good story?
Tension, lots of tension. I think no matter what you're writing, it doesn't matter if it's funny, if it's drama, if it's horror, whatever, there should always be tension on every page. There should be this need for the reader to go, I got to read the next sentence. What's the next sentence? If I find myself reading a book where I don't feel glued to the page, like I just really want to know what's going to happen, then to me then the author hasn't accomplished what they should. So as an author, I'm always looking at, and I have a beta reader who's really good about helping me with this, that every paragraph, literally from period to period to period, comma, whatever, does it matter? Does it bring tension to the book, to the story, to this? That to me is the biggest, because tension is what kind of keeps you on that feeling of what's going to happen. You know what I mean? So to me, probably the most important thing is that there's this eagerness of where's it going. So
yeah, okay. So which of your books were the most enjoyable to write?
Mike Gray Wolf's books are my most enjoyable, just because they're like family, I guess you could say. I've been writing them for 10 years now. In fact, my very first novel's anniversary is in June, the 10-year anniversary, and so going back to that series is always it's like coming home. Kind of like, hey guys, where y'all been? What you been doing?
Okay, that's so wonderful. Do you have a favorite character that you have written? If so, who and what makes them so special?
Honestly, I have 3, and there's a reason that they're my main characters in my Growell series, Jen, Jackie, and Sally. And the reason they're all equal and special to me are they're based off my 3 best friends from high school. Very distinct personalities, but they formed our group, and each of them was necessary. I mean, a lot of the stuff that I describe in the first few books are stuff that we did as teenagers. I'll never admit to any of it, but there's stuff that we actually did when we were in high school. But those girls, they are, in fact, one of them, Lisa, who Jackie is based off of, her oldest son just graduated from high school this year, so it's kind of weird. But we don't hang out or see each other very often, but there's still people that I care about. There's still people that have made a massive impact on my life, enough so that I wrote a book about us. You know what I mean? That I took things from our lives and put them in this novel. But their personalities, in high school and junior high especially, just we all needed each other. That girlfriend relationship, that camaraderie, that tribe, whatever you want to call it, was very necessary and got me through a lot of difficult times in high school. So
I also want a friend like you who writes a book about me. Okay, you have given many amazing abilities to the werewolf couples. Out of all of them, which one's your favorite?
Probably the ability to speak to each other mentally, because there are times I would love to be able to talk to my husband in front of other people without them knowing what I'm saying. Like, that would be amazing to be able to be like, hey, it's time to go. We need to go now. Without, but I just think that, and it's intimate. It's a unique intimacy that you can't have on any level. Anybody can get matching tattoos. Anybody can, but that's I'm keeping your email up where I can see it too, so I can kind of keep up to speed where we are. But yeah, I just think it's really cool that they're able to communicate with each other, even in long distances. They can be across the world from each other and still have a connection without having to pick up a cell phone and wonder, if they're going to be able to talk to each other. So that's it. I'm pulling it. Go ahead. Keep going.
Okay. Out of all the werewolf couples, which one is your favorite?
My favorite would be, that's hard. Honestly, I think it is Perry and Lucian. Probably because Perry is so, when we first meet her, we don't expect her to wind up with a werewolf. She's just so not cool with werewolves. So I just think I like seeing her grow as a character. With Lucian, she's really having to kind of, she's 3,000 years old. She's been independent a very long time. And suddenly she has this person here who is willing to be there for her emotionally, physically, any capacity that he needs to be. But she also has to be available for him in the same way. And I think as people, when we come into relationships, it's so difficult to set aside our selfishness and be what that other person needs us to be for them. So I like seeing her deal with that and struggle with that. And it's cool to me.
Yeah, it's interesting. Okay. Out of the three girls, which one is your favorite? No, that's difficult.
Probably Jen, because she's fun to write. She's just a really fun character.
She's the life of the book. She's literally the life of the book.
Exactly, yeah. She's a hoot. She always makes me laugh.
Yeah. Well, who is the author you most admire in your genre?
Let's see. There's a lot. A lot, because I know so many of them personally on a personal basis, on a personal level. Karen Lynch, she doesn't write drifter books, but she writes paranormal fiction. I read her books before I met her, and she's just an amazing, I like her as a person, as a human being. She's an extremely kind person, but she's an incredibly talented writer. First time I read her very first breakout novel, I was like shocked. I compared it to Prince of Wolves, and I was like, holy crap, she's freaking amazing. And I actually reached out to her and contacted her. It's like, I read your first novel. It was amazing. I loved it. And we became friends through that. And so we're colleagues, but we're also friends. Jennifer Armentrout, I've met her. We aren't, I wouldn't say we're just friends, but we've met at book signings. I've read her books. I love her. I love her tenacity as an author. She has her own personal struggles in life, but she can spit out books faster than any author I think I've ever seen. And not only just spit them out, but they're amazing books that and I'm kind of envious, I'm not gonna lie, because all of her characters and all the books that I've read are always relatable. You connect to them, which is what makes a book successful. A reader has to be able to connect to the character, or else they don't give a crap about the character, right? So those would be two off the top of my head. Eva Poehler, if you've never read anything by her, I love her as a person, but then as an author, she's very talented, very good at making you connect to the characters. So those would be three off the top of my head that I really love.
Yeah, I've heard of Eva. Okay, so what are you reading right now?
I am reading, I have to think about it. What is it called? I can't think of the name of it. I just literally downloaded it last night. Hold on. Let me look at my. If you hadn't asked me, I could have told you. So don't ask me, I'll tell you. I literally can see the cover in my head, but I can't think of the title of it.
Fiction.
Okay. Okay. Next question.
Okay. Where is it? Do you have any new series planned?
I do, but I don't know when they'll happen because I have so much in the Grey Wolf series I want to do that's a lot of books I know that are going to be happening. But I do have another Shifter series that I actually have plotted out the whole thing. I have maps. I have the whole world built, and I've worked on it for about 2 years, and I haven't written a novel in it yet. But it's one of those things that you just feel like you don't have the time to do because you need to be doing something else. So, anywho, yeah.
Okay. Are you working on anything at the present you would like to share with your readers?
I'm working on book 15 in the Grey Wolf series, and that hopefully book 13 just came out. Book 14 comes out July 25th, and book 15 will hopefully come out somewhere in the fall, October-ish, somewhere around there.
I finished reading the 8th one last week. I'm so behind.
You're behind.
Okay, I'm not up to date then. Share something your readers wouldn't know about you.
Let's see. Something odd. I love the smell of Scotch tape. Like if there's Scotch tape sitting near me, I will pull off a piece and just hold it on my finger and sniff it. It's really weird.
That's weird. Okay. If you had to describe yourself in 3 words, what would they be?
Eccentric, unfortunately. I don't know what the right word is for fun. I like to have fun. I'm just a fun person, I think. And determined. I'm very determined.
Okay. In all your novels, you have laid emphasis on the importance of good friends. What, according to you, are the attributes of a good friend?
I think a good friend is loyal.
Yeah.
I think a good friend is honest to the point of if you're doing something stupid, they're going to tell you you're doing something stupid instead of telling you what you want to hear. I think that a good friend loves you enough to not let you stay the same. They want to see you grow and change and become better than what you are today. So those are things that I think are important in a good friend.
I like to add one more. A good friend should help you in mischief.
Very true. Absolutely. Definitely put the bail if you need it. So.
Yes. Any message you would like to give to your readers?
Just a massive thank you. I don't know that an author can ever fully express what it means to have somebody pick up your book and read it and enjoy it when you've poured so much into it. Every time I've published a novel, I'm 37 novels in now into my career, and I'm terrified every time that I'm going to make my readers unhappy or not fulfill what they want. So just thank you from the bottom of my heart for reading my books. It's amazing to me.
I don't think readers will ever be unhappy with your books. They're literally amazing.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Quinn, for doing this with me. I'm really, really, really honored. Thank you very much. I've been jumping from joy all night. I wasn't able to sleep, and everyone was staring at me like this girl has lost her head.
I'm so glad that you invited me. I'm very honored that you even thought to ask me. I was amazed.
It was my honor. Actually, I have been I stand you from the very beginning, from the first book of the Grey Wolf series. And I just, I've always wanted to do this from a very, very long time. And finally I did it.
That's awesome. I love it. I love your bookshelf behind you. That's pretty.
Oh, thank you. That's actually half mine and half my sister's.
I like the way you have it set up. It's very pretty.
Thank you. Okay, then we'll end this tonight.
Okay.
Have a great night.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye-bye.
She is amazing, isn't she? Even the night before, I was so excited to talk to her. It was, I couldn't sleep. It was as if I had a whole lot of energy and excitement pulsing through my nerves, and I was always, jumping. And my parents and my sister, they were looking at me as if I've won 3 hits. Well, I guess as a bibliophile, that's completely justified and understood. Also, time zones can be so evil. The difference between our times was a huge gap, because there's a difference of almost 10 hours 30 minutes. So it was night here, it was day there, it was day there, it was night here. It was a huge hurdle, and we had a couple of misconceptions because of that, but in the end it was certainly worth it. Again, I would like you to know that when I think about werewolves, her books are what come in my mind. I've read many paranormal fantasy novels, a lot about werewolves, vampires, but when it comes to werewolves, she has written it in such an amazing and unique way that I promise you, once you read her books, you can't read any other. I was so addicted, so captivated with her books that I couldn't read any other werewolf fantasy. They were so gripping. To all the people who haven't grabbed their copies yet, please do that, because you have no idea what you've been missing. This was it. I'll see you guys in the upcoming videos. Till then, please take care.